The fish is less than an arm's length away. It seems slow, exposed, and easy to catch. The fisher waits until it moves between the rocks. Then both hands strike, but they close on nothing. In a flash of silver, the fish twists away, leaving only ripples and a cloud of sand. The fisher tries again. This time, the fingers touch its scales, but the animal slips free. Food is moving everywhere beneath the surface. Yet the human hand cannot match the speed of a creature shaped by millions of years in water. For the people waiting on shore, this is not a game. Every failed attempt costs time and energy. When the tide rises, the remaining fish will escape into deeper water. To reach them, humans must find a way to make the hand longer, faster, and more difficult to escape. The solution will not appear in one brilliant moment. It will emerge from countless failures. A stone that strikes the wrong place, a wooden point that cannot hold its prey, a cord that breaks, and a hook that slips free before the fish reaches shore. Across different lands and different ages, prehistoric communities experimented with the materials around them. Stone could cut, wood could extend the arm, bone could be sharpened and barbed, plant fibers could become cord, shell could be ground into a curve strong enough to hold a struggling fish. But how did these separate discoveries become a fishing system? And what did that small, curved hook reveal about the changing human mind? The earliest chapters of fishing history are almost invisible. Wood rots, plant fibers decay, knots loosen, baskets and nets can disappear without leaving a recognizable trace. Archaeologists are more likely to find scattered fish bones, a carved point, a damaged shell, or ash from an ancient fire than a complete fishing kit. This creates a dangerous illusion. The oldest surviving hook is not necessarily the first hook ever made. It is simply one of the oldest that entered the ground under conditions that allowed it to survive. Fishing may have begun long before durable hooks appeared, through methods that left little or no archaeological evidence. The story must therefore be reconstructed carefully, from what survives, from how tools function, and from what prehistoric environments made possible. At Gesher Benot Ya'aqov, in what is now northern Israel, researchers found evidence that hominins were selecting and consuming large freshwater fish approximately 780,000 years ago. Changes inside preserved fish teeth suggest that some of these fish were exposed to controlled heat. This tells us that aquatic food had entered human behavior at a remarkably early date. But it does not reveal exactly how the fish were captured. Perhaps some were collected when water levels fell. They may have been trapped in shallow pools, caught by hand, struck with wooden implements, or taken through a method that vanished without a trace. No hominin remains have identified the exact species responsible at the site. Any scene showing the capture method must therefore remain an evidence-informed reconstruction, not a recorded fact. Water itself concealed the answer. When light passes from water into air, it changes direction. A fish can appear closer to the surface or in a slightly different position than it truly is. A fisher aiming directly at the visible animal may strike above it. Prehistoric people did not need to understand the physics of refraction. Repeated failure could teach the same lesson. Aim where the fish appears to be and the point misses. Aim beneath that position and the result changes. Observation could improve accuracy, but another problem remained. Even when a smooth point entered the fish, the animal could twist backward escape. Reaching the prey was not enough. The tool also had to hold it. A stone thrown into the water can stun or trap a fish under unusual conditions, but it is difficult to control. The splash warns every animal nearby, while water changes the stone's speed and direction. A sharp stone becomes more valuable when it is used not as the final weapon, but as a tool for making another tool. Its edge removes bark and shapes wood into a narrow point. The finished spear extends the reach of the arm and enters the water before the fish's body frightens the prey away. The first thrust misses. The second strikes a rock and damages the point. On the third attempt, the spear touches the fish, but the smooth wood slides free as the animal turns. The tool can reach farther than a hand, yet it still cannot reliably secure the catch. Bone offered new possibilities. It could be ground into a fine point, polished, and shaped with backward-facing barbs. When a fish pulled away, the barbs resisted the movement that once allowed it to escape. At Katanda, near the Semliki River in Central Africa, archaeologists recovered sophisticated barbed bone points associated with the remains of large catfish. Some have been placed at roughly 90,000 years ago, although their precise use and attachment system cannot be replayed with certainty. The makers had to select suitable bone, shape it without splitting it, create repeated barbs, and preserve a strong central point. This was not a disposable object made in moments. It represented planning, control, and knowledge of how an animal would move after being struck. A barbed point solved one problem and created another. If permanently attached to a heavy shaft, the entire spear could be lost when a fish carried it into deeper water. If the point detached, it needed a line strong enough to recover both tool and prey. Plant fibers could be twisted together to make cord. Several weak strands, combined in the correct direction, became stronger than each strand alone. But cord introduced its own chain of failures. A knot could slip. A rough edge could cut the fibers. Water could loosen the attachment. A powerful animal could break a line that looked strong on shore. Each improvement depended on another skill. The point required a shaft. The shaft required bindings. A detachable point required cord. Cord required material knowledge and reliable knots. Fishing technology was becoming a system. By approximately 42,000 years ago, people living at Jerimalai in Timor-Leste were exploiting marine fish, including fast-moving pelagic species such as tuna. These fish normally occupy waters beyond the easiest reach of someone standing on shore. Their remains point to considerable knowledge of the sea and effective methods of capture. But fish bones do not preserve the full equipment. Spears, traps, nets, hooks, lines, watercraft, or combinations of several methods may have been used at different times. Archaeological evidence cannot turn every possibility into certainty. What it does reveal is a growing ability to enter complex coastal environments, predict marine resources, and create specialized technologies. The next breakthrough would not strike the fish from above. It would wait silently below the surface. A hook appears simple only after someone understands what it must do. It does not chase the fish. It allows the fish to approach voluntarily. The material must be strong enough to survive sudden tension, yet workable enough to shape. The curve must enter the mouth. The point must catch as the animal turns away. The attachment must remain secure while the fish struggles. At Jerimalai and Sakitari Cave in Okinawa, archaeologists found curved hooks made from shell dating to approximately 23,000 years ago. These surviving objects are among the earliest securely dated shell hooks known. They do not prove where or when hook fishing began, but they preserve evidence that prehistoric craftspeople had mastered a complex idea, using the fish's own movement to help secure the catch. The craftsperson begins with a thick piece of marine shell. Stone removes the rough outer edge. Repeated grinding creates a controlled curve. The inner opening is widened little by little, while one end is narrowed into a point. Too much pressure breaks the shell. Too little leaves the hook blunt and heavy. One unfinished piece cracks before the curve is complete. Hours of work are lost. The next attempt becomes thinner, but not too thin. Its point is sharpened, while the opposite end remains wide enough for a line to hold. This is evidence-informed reconstruction. Archaeology preserves finished and unfinished shell artifacts, but not the thoughts or exact gestures of their makers. What survives is the result, a shape created for a task that would happen beneath the water. The hook alone cannot catch anything. It needs a line. Plant fibers are separated, dried or prepared, then twisted into strands. The strands are combined so that tension tightens their structure instead of pulling them apart. Now comes the knot, one of the most important and least visible parts of the technology. A knot leaves almost no archaeological record. Yet a poor knot makes every hour spent shaping the hook meaningless. The first attachment slips when tested. The line is repositioned against the wider part of the shell. A second knot is tightened and pulled repeatedly. The system now contains several forms of knowledge: shell working, fiber preparation, cord making, knot tying, bait selection, and an understanding of how fish feed. None is sufficient alone. The first fishing attempt fails. The bait turns unnaturally in the current. Small fish approach, inspect it, and disappear. The fisher moves to another rock and uses a smaller piece of bait. A fish closes its mouth around the hook. The line moves. Everyone on shore becomes still. The fisher pulls too quickly. For one brief moment, the weight of the animal can be felt through the cord. Then the line falls loose. The fish is gone. Failure reveals another lesson. The tool must not merely enter the mouth. The fish must turn and create tension against the curve. The fisher lowers the hook again and waits. This time, no one moves when the line trembles. The fish takes the bait and turns toward deeper water. The line straightens. Instead of pulling with one violent movement, the fisher maintains steady tension. The curved point catches as the animal pulls away. For the first time in this reconstruction, a person on the rocks is connected to an unseen animal beneath the surface by a single cord. The fish surges. The knot holds. Hands that once closed on empty water now pull together, guiding the catch across the shallows and onto the shore. The breakthrough is not the hook alone. It is the shell, the stone, the cord, the knot, the bait, the knowledge of the current, and the patience to wait. A small curved object has extended the human hand into another world. The hook did not make every older method disappear. Hands remained useful in shallow pools. Spears could target large fish in clear water. Traps and nets, where available, could capture several animals at once. Hooks offered another option, especially where fish moved beyond the reach of a person standing in the shallows. Different waters demanded different solutions. The importance of fishing technology was not one tool replacing all others. It was flexibility. A community with several methods could respond to changing tides, seasons, water levels, and species. The new system also created new responsibilities. Hooks had to be shaped, lines had to be prepared and repaired, bait had to be collected, fishing locations had to be remembered. The catch began long before the hook entered the water. No individual could carry this knowledge forever. A younger learner needed to recognize strong shell, control the grinding angle, and understand where the material might break. Cord making required different knowledge. Fishing required another set of observations entirely. Skills had to be demonstrated, copied, remembered, and improved. This is cumulative culture, knowledge surviving beyond the person who first discovered it. The archaeological record cannot preserve the lesson spoken beside the fire. It cannot show the expression on a learner's face when a knot finally holds. But the finished artifact preserves the outcome of teaching. Its shape tells us that prehistoric people could imagine a tool before it existed, complete a long sequence of actions, and trust that an invisible process beneath the water would produce a future reward. Fishing may have helped some communities broaden their diets and use environments that once seemed inaccessible. But its deeper significance lies in the thinking behind it. A hook and line system joins several materials, several skills, and several predictions. The maker must believe the shell will withstand pressure. The cord maker must believe that twisted fibers will hold. The fisher must understand that an animal hidden beneath the surface will approach the bait, close its mouth, and turn. The tool reaches into a future that cannot yet be seen. That ability to observe, imagine, construct, test, fail, and teach became one of humanity's most powerful forms of adaptation. The fish hook was small enough to fit inside a hand. The chain of knowledge behind it was far larger. Most prehistoric fishing tools disappeared with the people who made them. Wood returned to the soil. Plant fibers decayed. Knots loosened. Shorelines moved as sea levels changed. But a few fragments survived. Fish teeth beside an ancient hearth. Barbed bone points near the remains of large catfish. Marine fish bones inside an island cave. Curved shell hooks buried for thousands of years. They do not reveal one inventor or a single path of progress. Instead, they show that different communities repeatedly confronted the same challenge. Food moving beneath a surface the human body could not easily control. The answer began with observation. It developed through failure, and eventually separate materials became a system capable of pulling life from the water. From bare hands to sharpened points, from barbed bone to fiber line and shell hook. The history of fishing is not a simple ladder. It is a mosaic of experiments separated by vast distances and generations. The hook extended the human hand beneath the surface, but only as far as a line could reach from shore. Beyond the reef, larger fish still moved through deep blue water. Reaching them would require more than a better point or a stronger knot. Humans would need to carry themselves away from land. They would need to understand buoyancy, balance, currents, wind, and the behavior of wood upon water. The fishhook had opened a path into the sea. The next invention would allow humans to follow it. Before people could master the ocean, they first had to learn how to leave the shore.